Thank you, Cliff. I'd like to say that Cliff's one of the most modest men that I've ever met, because they're not quite happy. I think they're very happy. All right, so I do know that Technology One have got some great systems, and one of the best things about the organisation is their dashboard. If you've not had an opportunity, did you bring your dashboard?
Can bring one.
Wonderful. If you have an opportunity to see their dashboard, it's really, really exciting, and it's a really great way to view modern technology. That kind of leads nicely into where I am. That kind of leads into my speech. So it's time for me to speak now. You know, over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 months, I've been thinking about this conference. I don't often get a gig with this much lead time, and I've had lots of lead time this year, and I've been thinking about this conference, I've been thinking about you, and I've been thinking about what to talk to you about. I've written 4 different speeches. And those 4 different speeches I've got here, but I'm going to set them aside. Because what I'd really like to do this morning, and what I'd really like to talk to you about today, is about what you need. Not what I need, not what I think you need, but what it is that you need. What it is that you want to get out of this conference today. So I'm going to leave it a little bit open. If you have a quick look at your agenda here, it says speakers. And under my lovely picture there, you can see that I've got 5 choices. I've written about things. There's organisational culture. Following on from last year's conference, customer service must claim a higher spot on the totem pole of your organisational hierarchy. This is something that I firmly believe that we must do. Craig, you've arrived.
You're doing well.
Did you want to keep going? Okay. So what I'd like to do is I'd like you to think of a question. I would like you to think of a question that you would like to discuss here today as a group, as a room that we can work with in relation to how do we get further up the organisational hierarchy? How do we claim that spot? How do we be taken more seriously? How do we find those funds, which we know are there? Everyone will tell us there is no money at council, but there is money in council. It's a question of where does it go, who gets allocated, and what do they use it for? So I'm going to ask you, how do we steal some of that money? How do we become something that's important? That they say, yes, the customer service area needs this money. How do we move further up the chain to be invited to the, CMT meeting or EMT meeting? The executive management team or the corporate management team. How do we get there? How do we get to sit at that table every week? How do we get a weekly meeting, monthly meeting with some of the directors? How do we do that? These are all the important questions that we need to ask. In my view, it's too long that we've been seen down here as in customer service on the side, not in the middle. How do we get to be in the middle of the bicycle wheel that we've spoken about over the last 2 years? How do we get to claim that spot? So I want to give you a moment now. I'm going to give you a minute. Half a minute, not that generous. And I want you to write down a question. Go ahead. Write down a question pertaining to that point, and then we're going to go through and talk about that. Go ahead, write down a question. Think about an issue you may be having in relation to that topic. Write down a question, and I'll choose a few questions as we go around and see if we can answer some of those.
I don't know whether they'll pick pole dancing.
All right, I can see a couple of questions have been taken there and answered there. So next one here. It's not all about technology, it's about the people who work in the customer service department, creating a positive customer service team dynamic through diversity of team members. That's the next thing that I thought about. That's the next thing that I'd like to challenge you on. How do we create a positive team dynamic? How do we create a diverse dynamic? I was speaking to someone yesterday and they told me that they could not get men to work in customer service. That is not true. I wasn't going to name you. That is not true. And I will show you that in a little while. So I want to think about team dynamic. Question that you have about the dynamic of your team that we as a group, as a network can help you with today. If you've got a question about that, please write it down. You've got 20 seconds. I'm getting less generous. Question number 3. It's also about skills and training. Customer service is not just about picking up the phone and chatting to people. It's about being a customer service professional. I know that Tina has been around the country this year, have you not? And done some excellent training, I understand. Yes, you have done excellent training, you have. You've done great training. You see, I want to know here, what training needs do you have? What do you need to know about training? Any questions you got to know about training? Anything you need to know about training? Ask the question here, put it down here, and we'll do our best to answer that. Training is a key, important thing that we need to do. I've often described training like this in relation to customer service. Most people over the age of 20 can drive a car. Most of us have got a car. We get in our car, we drive our car, we take it from A to B, from C to D, we do wonderful things with our car. But if you put most of us in a Formula 1 car, we would all be dead within a minute. Because we don't know how to drive a Formula 1 car. A Formula 1 car is completely different to your bulk standard Hyundai XL. Or even a BMW. Well, what my belief is this. You are Formula 1 racing drivers. You don't just pick up a phone. You're phone professionals. And I think it takes a lot more than just doing your driver's test or your learner's permit and doing your P's to be able to drive or negotiate a phone like a Formula 1 racer, like Mark Webber. Very, very different. So I want you to think about things in terms of training and write down a question or two about training, please. Number 4, gaining acceptance for the customer service strategy from the executive and the management team. We've got to push this thing all the way to the top. And in some cases, and I'll be very open and honest when I say this, in some cases you get more resistance at the top than you do at the bottom. So how do we get the executive to accept your customer service strategy? How do we get the time to write a customer service strategy? Or the resources to write a customer service strategy? Or the information to write a customer service strategy? Information is key and information is power. How do you wrestle the information from someone who's been at council for 25 years of their life and thinks that their knowledge is sacrosanct and no one else deserves it? Because they still work in a silo mentality? Because they think that their knowledge is power? And they think if I give you my knowledge, I'm no longer powerful? Don't tell me that doesn't exist, because I know it does. So the question that I'd like you to write here is, how do we? Think about your own circumstance. Think about your own situation. And I would like you to write in there a question relating to moving the strategy from your desk to the CEO's desk and having it accepted. Think of a question, write it down. All right. Number 5. The importance of escalation. Let me just say that word again. It's a word I like it a lot. Escalation. Escalate. To move things forward, to move things up, to make people accountable. Something that longs well. Having worked around local government for the last 20 odd years, I know that accountability is something that some organisations still struggle with today. How do we make their organisation accountable? How do you make managers accountable, team leaders accountable, people on bands 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 accountable? How do we do that? Well, it's through escalation. So what I want you to do now is to think a question about escalation in relation to your own council, in relation to your own circumstances, and write down that question, and let's see if we, as a room, as a group, as a network, can deal with that, can handle that challenge. And I'd like to add one more question, if you wouldn't mind, from you, Kerry. I'd like to add one more question. How many of you are aware of your, was it Miro?
Yeah.
Yeah, your Miro? And how many of you are actively involved, not just in your part, bless you, not just in your part of a business continuity plan, a BCP. Anyone know what a BCP is? Yeah, business continuity plan? Well, I want to know, how does your business continuity plan work in relation to the rest of the organisation? Or have you written it in isolation? Or do you actually have one? So I'd like to put down as question number 6 that we're going to discuss today, in reality, is the business continuity plan, or Miro as it is in Victoria. I was there that night, by the way, that the smokehouse went up. I live 3 doors down, very, very close to that.
In Victoria, it's municipal emergency response, and the O is the officer.
Emission, was it?
Municipal emergency response.
Officer.
And the officer is the person who's appointed across a few different councils, and so if there is some sort of emergency, this person gets coordinated and they, I think, manage, because it might, you don't know that an emergency is going to stop at the street where your council ends.
Yeah.
So I presume they're coordinating. And the terminology is different for every state, unfortunately, but I think the basic principle probably travels.
So what we're going to talk about there then is like, and I think this is really apt. I mean, in the past, over the last few networks that we've been to over the last couple of years, what we've looked at is we've really just touched on and scratched the surface of emergency responses and what's going on. In today's environmental world, I mean, like, I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, but like, I know it was in the United States, but a couple of tornadoes ripped through the south of America, killing 18 people and destroying hundreds of homes. They had a landslide a few weeks ago, which killed 100 odd people. These things aren't isolated. These things aren't kept in America or kept overseas. I mean, one of the things that's happening is that the world is changing, whether it's man-made or whether it's natural. That's not the question. The question is that we have climate change issues, and what are we doing at a local government level to address that? That's really important. So, yeah, thank you, Kerry. I'm adding number 6. I would like you to write down a question in relation to your business continuity plan, or about extreme events or extreme weather events. I would like you to write down a question there that we, as a network, as a room full of 70 odd people, can tackle this morning. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, I'm going to get myself a glass of water, and then I'm going to take my first question. The floor is yours. Thanks for watching our broadcast on the National Local Government Customer Service Network channel. I hope you got lots of hints and tips and tricks that you can use at your council. The case studies were great, the information's been great. I hope you're enjoying it, and don't forget to visit our website. See you next time.